Congratulations, you've made it to the final chapter. And we've covered many topics: ethics, safety, emergencies, reporting, making arrests. But we left out one of the most essential topics: communication. Think about it. Security officers are often stationed in crowded places like shopping centers, concert venues, and hotel lobbies where many interactions take place. This increases the risk of confrontation and conflict. You will likely interact with exhausted travelers, rude customers, and people who've had one too many drinks. So, how do you keep the peace? A well-trained security officer knows how to communicate to maintain order. Being professional goes hand in hand with people skills and the ability to respond to threats and de-escalate conflict. Whether you're stationed at a restaurant, an office building, or a retail outlet, you represent Access Control Security and its sister companies, and we expect you to behave professionally and courteously when interacting with the public. Maintaining an approachable, upbeat demeanor is part of your job. If someone is in distress or just needs a question answered, they must feel comfortable approaching you for assistance. The top security officers have great people skills. Not only are they professional and respectful, but they also know how to take control of a situation by verbally convincing individuals to behave properly and follow instructions. Throughout your security career, you will be confronted with challenging situations that will call for your ability to communicate in ways that diffuse conflict instead of escalating it. For example, how do you get a group of out-of-control teenagers to behave properly at a crowded mall? Or how do you get someone you are detaining to follow your instructions until the police arrive? Whatever the situation, you should avoid the use of physical force and diffuse conflict verbally. If you are involved in a confrontation, you need to quickly assess the situation and understand the warning signs that could escalate the conflict. And then use your verbal skills to ensure the incident is resolved peacefully and safely. As a security officer, you will be protecting and interacting with diverse people from all walks of life. Showing respect and understanding for all, regardless of race, gender, class, or sexual orientation, is part of your job. A security officer should never let personal prejudice get in the way of his or her duties to serve and protect. You may have heard of the term verbal judo, but what exactly is it? Back in the 1990s, Dr. George Thompson, an expert in rhetoric and a judo black belt, trained police officers in the art of verbal mediation. He taught communication tactics that can prevent, de-escalate, and end conflicts and disruptions. He called these tactics verbal judo. Now, verbal refers to communication, and judo is a martial art that teaches self-control in combat. In judo, you don't resist your opponent, you move with them and redirect them. And likewise, verbal judo teaches that when you react, the event or interaction controls you. But when you listen and respond using a calm, persuasive language, you are in control. Thompson called verbal judo a police tactic that teaches cops to talk before they shoot. Now, granted, it's unlikely that a security officer will shoot, but the communication tactics police officers use apply to security officers. By practicing verbal judo, you increase safety for yourself and everyone involved. Let's take a look at how verbal judo works. 1. Listen. Don't react. For example, if someone yells at you, "Get out of my way," you have two options. You can yell back, "What's your problem?" and exacerbate the situation, or you can listen and respond in a professional tone by saying, "I see that you're upset. How can I help you?" 2. Emphasize, don't judge. If someone fires insults at you because they feel threatened by the situation at hand, instead of judging them, try to put yourself in their shoes, using phrases like, "I can see how difficult this is for you," or "I see why you would be upset." will have an immediate calming effect. 3. Ask, don't give orders. If you shout out, "Come here," at someone who's already upset, you're likely to get a negative reaction. Instead, you could just ask, "Hey, can we talk for a second?" Or, "Is there some way we can solve this problem?" And people will be more cooperative if they have a chance to voice their opinion instead of being told what to do. 4. Paraphrase. Don't put words in someone's mouth. When you use phrases like, "Let me make sure I understand what you said," and then repeat what the person told you, the other person feels heard and is more likely to be receptive to your directions. 5. Summarize. Once you have the interaction under control, you can make a concise statement no one can argue with about the action you will be taking. Verbal judo is effective, persuasive, and respectful communication. And the more you practice this way of interacting, the more you will find conflict manageable. Say you're stationed at a shopping center and a very distressed mother comes to you in tears after losing her child in the mall. What do? Telling the parent to calm down is going to make things worse. You would first need to communicate in a way that brings the emotional intensity down and then make an informed decision on how to proceed. De-escalation begins with effective communication. So to keep the peace, all security officers must know how to use their words to reduce stress in adverse situations. Verbal mediation should always come first. So how does de-escalation work? Let's take this step by step. 1. Be aware of signs of tension. Are people raising their voices or clenching their fists? Watch for signs that a situation is heating up and could get out of control. No need to intervene too quickly. If you feel that the situation will resolve itself, stay back. Observe. 2. Deter by establishing your authority. Making your presence visible may help to diffuse a tense situation before it becomes a problem. Most people shy away from authority. If you decide to intervene, introduce yourself and your position. And remember, your first goal should be to calm all involved without having to take additional measures. 3. Remain calm. Speaking assertively but calmly encourages a positive response. When you have everyone's attention, you can outline the policy of the venue. For example, you could explain that shouting or making threats is not permitted. 4. Give them an opportunity to talk. Now, in many cases, anger dissolves when people feel heard. Encourage all involved to explain their side and then paraphrase what they tell you to show that you are actively listening. For example, you are upset because you waited in line for hours and this person cut in front of you. 5. Come up with a resolution. When everyone is calm, you can work through a resolution to make sure things don't escalate again. If the confrontation is caught early enough, everyone will most likely leave the situation and go about their business. If the situation escalates beyond the point of communication, you may need to resort to calling the local police or escorting the parties off the premises to maintain safety. It's important to calmly and clearly explain the reasoning behind your decision on how to proceed. As we know, no two conflicts are the same, and different strategies are needed to resolve specific issues and disputes, but practice makes perfect. So let's recap some key points that we've covered in this chapter. 1. We've talked about effective communication. It is one of the best assets of a top security officer. Whatever the situation, you should always attempt to defuse conflict verbally. Avoid the use of physical force at all costs. 2. Look around. Our communities are very diverse. Never let personal prejudice get in the way of your duties to protect and serve. 3. What is verbal judo? It is another term for verbal mediation. Verbal judo teaches that when you react negatively, the event or interaction controls you. But when you listen and respond using calm, persuasive language, you are in control. 4. Verbal judo communication tactics include listening, emphasizing, asking, paraphrasing, and summarizing. It's also known as LEAPS, LEAPS. 5. De-escalation is also about verbal mediation, using words appropriately to diffuse a heated situation. If you are confronted with a stressful event or interaction that you believe can be de-escalated through communication, then calmly establish your authority. Listen to all sides and make an informed decision on how to proceed. You've completed the final chapter of this training. Now, click on the button below to take the last quiz. Congratulations, you have successfully completed the orientation course and are now ready to represent access control security in the field. At the end of this video, you will be issued a certificate of completion. Now remember, you're part of our team and we value your contribution. Your role as a security officer is of utter importance to the clients and communities you serve. We want you to excel and are here to answer any questions you have. So take the lessons you've learned in this course and apply them to real-life situations. On behalf of all of us at Access Control Security, congratulations again, and thank you.